Hey guys, Bethany here with Rough Beginnings Rehab, and let's talk some puppy. So currently, when I'm shooting this video is during the coronavirus outbreak, and we are all quarantined. I have had more messages than normal from all over about issues with puppies. And so I thought I would do this video. I would love it if it was the first video everyone watched before they watched my other puppy videos on YouTube. But here it goes. So people usually fall into two camps. The first camp is a rare one, but it does happen, so I have to point it out. People get puppies, and by puppies I mean under 6 months, just to be clear. So puppies under 6 months, between 8 weeks and 6 months old, they are really frustrated. People are so frustrated with their puppy. They're hardly doing much with them anymore, except maybe fetch and play, just trying to drain energy. And they're doing a lot of frustrated no. They might even be trying some of my videos or other people's videos with pet correctors, which make that noise. It squirts air. Or they might be trying to do some blocking techniques or stepping into their puppy when they're jumping all over them or mouthing them, and it's just not working, and they're super frustrated, and the puppy is getting more amped up, and they're just trying to do play to drain energy. But they're mostly, honestly, they're representing play and excitement and frustrated correcting, yelling, possibly, no, things like that. So here's the thing. If that sounds like your situation, yeah, you're in trouble. You need a schedule. Your puppy needs to be crate trained. They need naps. They need a lot more than that. They need low-key guidance. You need to be doing several, 10 to 15 minutes of constant repetition of food work. You need to be teaching them body language, especially if they've kind of forgotten it with you. They know body language. It's their first language. They understand it. But a lot of puppies kind of forget it when they go into a home, and it just, kind of spirals out of control with the biting and nipping and jumping or barking. So just keep that in mind, is that you cannot just use no. It's kind of like that old school thing with the newspaper, like the old man that, uses the newspaper and he holds it up and the dog is like, no, that's emotionally threatening your dog. That doesn't work. So if you're constantly like this when it comes to your puppy, they feel that and they feed off of that, and it can cause some nervousness, or it can cause frustration, pushiness, more nipping, more biting, more issues, because you represent that to them. And then you might also represent some play and a few treats during the day. So you can't do that. So with those people, those are the people that I will send tons of my videos on, my puppy videos on different routines that they should be doing with their dog to build a bond with their dog and a good relationship with their dog. And then also how to correct them in a way that isn't emotional when possible. But it's got to balance out. And by balance, I don't mean 50-50. I'm technically a balance trainer, and that's not 50-50. It's more like 98% positive, especially with puppies, and 1 to 2% positive punishment, which means adding something to a situation that the dog perceives as negative, to lessen the likelihood of seeing it again and again. If you want to get scientific, right, it's positive punishment. So I'm adding a no and a body block, or a no and pet corrector, that little squirt, something like that. Water bottles, I know people use too, but water bottles can really get puppies amped up. Something about them. The pet corrector is better just because it makes a noise, but sometimes it's just this little interruption and the puppy goes right back to it, or learns to push through that as well, because they don't care. It's difficult. I'm not saying it's not. We've had some difficult puppies in this year that are just really drivey, really pushy, constantly challenging, the owner back, and it can be tough. But that's where your schedule comes into play. Having a schedule, just like with kids, and nap time and all that good stuff. Anyway, it's a whole thing. You can't just be using your frustrated no all the time. So here's the other side of that. This is what we see more often. this is what made me do this video. I've had 2 calls this week. One was a 4-month-old puppy and the other a 5.5-month-old puppy. 2 of the exact same issues. They are driven and they are working great. They're on a great schedule. They're doing tons of balance between fun and low-key training and crate training for downtime. Like, they're doing everything right, everything they're supposed to do, and they've worked with other trainers. But they are biting out of control, like bruising and just getting manic and frustrated, and not because they're tired. It's more relationship stuff, honestly. So they don't know how to teach no to their puppy. And it's hard. I get it. How do you teach your puppy no, like a little puppy? What's too forceful? What's not firm enough? They kind of waited too long to try to add some blocking. And then when you do, the puppy just comes back at you harder. It's stuff I hear all the time. So in those cases, you keep doing what you're doing with all your positive stuff, but stop being afraid to correct your puppy when they're that bad. And I mean that. Like, I am saddened at the amount of people thinking they need to give up their dogs, their young dogs, because they're out of control and they've never punished them for bad behavior before. Now, if you've got a dog that you've worked with trainers and you've punished bad behavior and done tons of rewarding for good behavior and it's just not working out, I get it. I get it. You might have a puppy that's not the right fit for your family. But for those of you out there struggling at home and you have not taught your puppy no in a valuable way, you haven't corrected your puppy for bad behavior, don't give that puppy up. Like don't do it. You've got more to try before you give up on that dog. It might be the best dog you've ever had. So here's some ways that we correct puppies. We're very training tool based here. A lot of you know that if you watch this channel, the YouTube channel. But we use training tools on puppies, but not to demand good behavior when they behave badly. Now I'm talking about behavior, biting, barking, anxiety, jumping up. I'm not talking about sit down, stay, calm. That's a whole totally different thing and should remain food-based and positive and fun. It's separate. All right, so let's be clear. Definition of terms here, okay? Behavioral. We try not to use training tools. We try not to use prong collar for this kind of stuff. And we can e-collar condition a young puppy, but we're not using e-collar to punish until they're mature and older, usually 99.9% of the time. So we try other things. Some of those things is, first of all, you got to have something around the neck of the dog. Even if it's a young puppy, you need to have control of their head in some way. Because if you use a pet corrector and then they kind of scoot off in the other direction, you just don't want them on harness. You want to be able to guide their head. So you want to already have them conditioned to something like that, low key, flat collar, slip leash, just in the house. I'm not even talking about walks because some of the puppies are too young for that. So you're just getting them used to that. Pet corrector squirts out air. It makes that noise, that Caesar Milan noise. You could just try the noise to kind of interrupt behavior and see how they do, and then be like, puppy, come sit good. And, you go right back to your food work. Sometimes that's enough. Some puppies are so sensitive that is enough. Then you can start to teach them blocking, and we have videos on how to re-teach puppies what blocking means when it comes to humans, because they understand body language when it comes to dogs, but we kind of put that in human form. We teach place, and then we teach them how to reset themselves in place with blocking. So that way, when they jump up on you and you say no, and you move into them a little bit and claim a little bit of space, they have more context and understanding of what it is you're asking, rather than just amping up and pushing you more like you might have seen. So there's that. There's also bonking. Bonking is crazy good for young dogs. It's not like physical or harsh. It doesn't hurt them. It's this thing that's been projected in some areas of training, like positive reinforcement trainers, as this horrible thing because it looks kind of bad. So I'll give you a scenario. We recently had a dog that was screaming her head off in crate, really, really bad. Came in 4 months old for some one-on-one lessons. Ended up greatly improving it, and they were super happy, so they wanted even more. And she came back for a board and train, and the screaming bloody murder in crate was not like crate anxiety or anything like that. So it didn't take much to get her to stop. She just wanted attention. Took rolled up socks, like you take socks and fold them in, to create this ball. About 4 times of her screaming and me going, no, like softball. And it makes a noise on the metal crate, and she's like, kind of settles for a second, then starts to get up again, little bit of whining, caught her early this time, and she stopped for a while. But then the next day, she tried it again, took a few more socks. Then she stopped, and she hardly does it at all anymore. She's about 6 months old now. Hardly does it at all anymore. That's a pretty sensitive dog, because it wasn't hardcore crate anxiety. It was just fussy puppy stuff, right? That's bonking. That's one form of bonking. Another form of bonking is it's not on the outside of crate, and you take a rolled up towel or a sock and you say no, and it's at the dog rather than just at the puppy, rather than just at the crate. So if I have a puppy that's really biting hard and I kind of start to block them and I see them charging up to challenge me, I'm not gonna like pin a puppy down. There's no alpha rolls here. We're not gonna call out any trainers to do alpha rolls. That's not what this conversation is about. But that's not what we're gonna do here. So when I see that puppy gearing up, like gunning for me, when I try to just be like, hey, settle down, stop biting me, and I see that recharge and challenge me back, bonking is great for that. So I'll just have a bonker next to me. No, bop. Puppy, come, sit, good food, place down, good food. Gets amped up, starts biting me again. No, bonk. Puppy, come, good. I mean, it's just, I don't want to say it's that easy. I'm not going to pretend it's easy, because it's not for a lot of owners. It's scary. Like, how do you correct your puppy? Don't want to overdo it. If I underdo it, then you get into the situation these people are in that I talk to, that are about to give up their puppy because there's just bruising them all over, and it's awful. And I've worked with some really driven puppies, and I know they exist out there, and they're very difficult for family dog scenarios, but they should be given a chance. If you haven't done a valuable no with your puppy in a way that they understand, and you're really frustrated and tired and you're about to give up on your dog, but you haven't tried a valuable no, then that's really, in my opinion, that's really not fair to the dog, because they deserve that. They deserve a properly trained no. And then, of course, all the work and the guidance on the back end to build context. They deserve that. They deserve that. So if anyone has any questions and wants to set up like a Skype or something like that, or Zoom is the new thing now, let me know and I'll help you, because you don't know. You might be one block, one claiming space, one pet corrector, one bonk away from having the best dog you've ever had. And you might still really be challenged, and it might still be a difficult dog. That's possible too. But I think they deserve a chance. I think they deserve a chance.